Hey y'all, here we are with question 106 of the answers book. Why do people insist there are mistakes in the Bible? Sorry. Did I say Bible? I meant the Bible. Because reality is too terrifying for them. To them. There is a remarkable similarity between the Slavish faith exercised by the textual critics and that of evolutionists. Both outrightly reject the power of God as the driving force of the issue under discussion. Only an evolutionist can observe the miracles of nature that surround him and then deny any intelligence to their condition. They will exalt the beauty and inner workings of what they call ecosystems and stubbornly refuse to acknowledge that they had a designer. In the same fashion, the textual critics who will speak glowingly of inspired scripture yet mock the concept of God could have anything to do that God could have anything to do with its preservation. Believing God could actually preserve his words takes a kind of faith that is beyond a textual critic's carnal ability. Not only can such a concept not be trusted, but such be subjected to ridicule as well. To textual critics, man is the primary force in the transmission of Scripture through history, not God. That textual critics are all men may have something to do with their monumental faith in this carnal view. Textual critics like to present themselves as nothing more than objective observers of history who have arrived at their conclusion as a reasonable, unprejudiced review of the historical facts. Unfortunately, this isn't the case. There is a darker, more fear-filled motive that drives these textual scientists, the student of evolutionary teaching. There are two kinds of evolutionists. The vast majority are victims more than proponents. The victims are the millions of innocent graduates of public schools across our country. For 12 years, they have been brainwashed by the lights going out in Georgia. Let's see here. Where's that button at? There we go. So brainwashed are they by that the most would happily. Wait a minute. I got to back up. By pro-evolutionary propaganda with no access to the reasonable alternative view, creation. So brainwashed are they that most would happily announce that they don't want to hear about creation because they appeal to science rather than religion, fact rather than faith. They have had evolution drummed into their heads as a fact all of their academic life and never had to deal with a multitude of hard questions evolution simply has no answers for. With childlike faith in their teachers, they embrace what they were taught, that they came from animals. Sadly, many of them go out and confirm that teaching by living like animals. But there is hope for them. Some of these graduates actually use their brains for more than playing childish computer games. Many formulate questions evolution cannot answer on their own, and then recognize the failure of evolution to supply any worthwhile answers. Most have had such a vicious anti-religious prejudice programmed into them that they refuse to seek truth from the Bible. They wander towards intelligent design because there are simply too many complex systems in nature to have happened by evolutionary accident. It is humorous that they would espouse intelligent design but shrink from confronting the intelligent half of the question. But still, there is hope. If they honestly investigate the available information, they can be freed from the shackles placed on them, on their minds and hearts by their fraudulent education. The movers and shakers of evolutionary teaching. The second class of evolutionists are those who teach this gross fiction. They are the movers and shakers of evolution. They are the high priests of evolutionary religion. Unlike the limited sources available to their students, they have seen the evidence that their students are not privy to. They know that the facts do not support evolution. So why do they embrace it? There's only one reason: the alternative. Although they haven't said these words out loud, somewhere in their minds they have arrived at a horrifying conclusion. It goes something like this. Of course, evolution is true. If evolution isn't true, then the Bible is. If the Bible is true, then I'm a sinner. If I'm going to die and go to I believe in evolution, it isn't the fact of evolution that instills their loyalty into evolution is their fearful recognition of their future state if evolution isn't true. Very scientific. The students of textual criticism. Critics of the concept that there is a perfect Bible on this earth operate on quite the same basis as evolutionists. First, there are the victims. They are the young people who go to the Bible college because they want to learn more about their Bible. Dedicated, excited, looking forward to a life lived for the Lord with their beloved Bible as their faithful tool, they instead have their faith destroyed by a trusted professor. They are told that the concept that the Bible could be preserved without error is foolish. They are shown supposed problems of Scripture for which they have no answer. The onslaught comes fast and furious as it is usually successful. Who are they to argue with the conclusion of college's resident's man of God? He is a supposed expert on a subject that intimidates them. Sadly, they graduate from Bible college no longer believing the book they loved and believed when they entered. They have, in spite of Paul's warning in 1 Timothy 6:20, been spoiled or soiled by textual criticism, a science falsely so-called. But just like the deceived evolutionary student, there is hope. After graduation, with their minds free of the constant anti-Bible propaganda, some of these brave young people begin to investigate the issue on their own and realize that it was their teachers who let them down, not God. They see the weakness of the arguments given them and desire to delve into the facts on their own. If their heart is humble, there is a chance for them to see the truth and leave the erroneous position. Many have. The movers and shakers of textual criticism. There's movers and shakers. There's students of evolution. There's students of textual criticism. There's movers and shakers of evolution and movers and shakers of textual criticism. The second group of the purveyors of textual criticism are the teachers of this fiction. These are the movers and shakers of this science, falsely so-called. They have seen the evidence that their students are not privy to. They know how the facts have had. They know that the facts had to be manipulated to support what they teach. So why do they embrace there is no perfect Bible on the earth position? There's only one reason. Just like with evolution, the alternative. Like the teachers of evolution, they haven't said these words out loud, but somewhere in their minds they have arrived at a horrifying conclusion. It goes something like this: of course there is no perfect Bible on earth. If there is a perfect Bible on earth, then I'm bound by God to read it. I'm also bound to obey it. I'm also out of a job. There's no perfect Bible. It is a terrifying thing to realize that your entire life's effort has been in vain and that your income is in peril if the world suddenly realizes you're not needed. No more university checks. No more jetting around the world on the trail of the original text. Looks like someone may have to get an honest job. Scary indeed. Kind of reminds me of the thing with the girl that was out there working for these people, and the girl kept saying, "These men are telling you about the Lord Jesus," And Paul got tired of it. The Lord reprove you, and she lost that familiar spirit, and she could never soothsay anymore. The soothsayer girl. So, and they took Paul and his group to the judge, and they put him in stocks for a whole night. So, that's pretty cool. How, if evolutionists don't have jobs to preach evolution and teach evolution, and the textual Bible critics don't have a job to teach textual criticism and preach it, then what will they do? What if Christians went out there and show and prove this wasn't real, and just by the Bible or just by intelligent design? I wonder what would happen to those Christians. Maybe they would have some, just like they were doing with Trump. Two viewpoints. There are basically two viewpoints or ways of approaching the testimony of the extant manuscripts. That of the professional textual critic and that of the group we will refer to as Bible believers. Both groups claim to hold the correct view of the transmission of the text through history. Both groups are dedicated to their position. Both groups are hostile toward each other. And both groups can let their humanity get in their way when presenting the evidence to support their claims. The Bible states that all men are liars. How about that? Psalm 116:11. And if you look at that, Psalm 116, if you move the one away to the left, 16:11. Your brain's programmed to see that kind of stuff, right? It also clearly declares that the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? Jeremiah 17:9. It is dishonest to credit some mythical virtue of incorruptibility to either group. None of us are incorruptible. A professional relationship. The term professional refers to anyone who gets paid for following a certain career path. Everyone who plays golf is an amateur because they make their living doing something else. I was talking to this guy, and he was talking about the frisbee golf thing. Like, there are people out there to make millions off of it. Like, how just throwing a thing into a net, golly, and you play it just like golf. You get parred, you get birdies, things like that. The exception to this is the professional golfer who gets paid to play or coach others in how to play the game. The professional golfer doesn't have to have a special relationship with the game. He doesn't have to love it. He doesn't even have to like it. It puts food on his table and beats working at the local quick oil change place. Textual critics have a professional relationship to the Bible. It's their job, their source of income. Textual critics have many good reasons to love their job. It comes with some wonderful perks. They are lauded around the world as experts and authorities in their field. They get to travel to exotic and authorities in their field. They get to travel. Woo! Okay, where was that? They get to travel to exotic places and are welcomed by representatives of those places with due recognition. Kind of like, reminds me of James White. They get to examine ancient biblical manuscripts. Many are tenured college or university professors and have a cadre of eager young undergraduates who delight in assisting them in their studies. They write books about the biblical manuscripts, which are quickly recommended to anyone interested in the subject and may even end up as a college textbook. A threat to the authority of the Bible is not viewed as harshly as a threat to textual criticism, because a threat to textual criticism is a threat to their paycheck. Oh, we still got more. Jeez. Oh, wow. Got 2-3 more pages. Like the professional golfer, the professional textual critic doesn't have to have a special relationship with the Bible. He doesn't even have to like it. The Bible is what puts food on the table, just like golf does for the professional golfer. I say again, Textual critics have a professional relationship to the Bible, not a personal one. Not a personal one. A personal relationship. Bible believers, on the other hand, have a personal relationship to the Bible. They believe it came from God under divine inspiration. They believe it is different from every other book on the planet. Most have a testimony of the life-changing effect the Bible has had on their lives. They read it, they trust it, love it, and wish to defend it against anyone who would belittle it or diminish its authority. But as defenders of the Bible, they are strictly amateurs. Not necessarily in their tactics or qualifications, but for the simple truth that no one pays attention to them to defend the Bible. No one pays them to defend the Bible. Yeah, true. They may be pastors, teachers, or simply dedicated laymen. In other words, it is something else that puts the bread on their table rather than defending the Bible. They do it because they love that book, not because they get a paycheck. Textual critics love their job. Bible believers love their Bible. No united up front. Textual criticism is by no means a universally accepted process. There are disagreements between different textual critics and between different schools of thought within the discipline, just as there are the disagreements between the different branches of evolutionary teachers. The testimony of the extant manuscripts is interpreted differently within the textually critical community. There are disagreements between various textual critics as to which manuscripts hold the greatest value as witnesses, how they should be classified, and how they should be interpreted. In fact, in many cases, there are disagreements as to just what the witnesses say. Although identifying the text to the New Testament, the supposed goal of textual criticism sounds like a noble cause. The inconsistent nature of the witnesses negates any hope of textual criticism because the vehicle by which that goal will never be attained. By which that goal will shown, but never be attained. Sadly, textual critics are not above petty manipulation of the witnesses to reach the predetermined goal. To grant scholarship as being above petty prejudices is to open oneself up to a serious case of the blind leading the blind. Of course it is. While the goals and claims of the Bible believers and textual critics may seem to be the same, they differ fundamentally in their approach to the quest for the identity of the book they both claimed God inspired centuries ago. One approach is God-centric, while the other is egotistically man-centric. I like that. I love that. God-centric and then egotistically man-centric. I like that. Great one, Sam. The Bible believer dwells on the product while the textual critic dwells on the process. The Bible believer believes the perfect book is already here and divinely provided against all odds and human corruption through the same divine officer who inspired it. The textual critic believes the perfect book is not yet here and will not be here until identified by his humble research. Man-centric. One viewpoint exalts God as the one we have to thank for preserving this perfect book, while the other exalts man as the one worthy of our gratitude. The conclusion the reader reaches will be based on personal pride rather than faith or science. The conclusion of the matter. Okay. It has been said that a cure for cancer will never be found because cancer research on its own has become a multi-million-dollar industry enriching both the researchers and the institutions employing them. If these seemingly sincere researchers ever achieve their goal, they would all become unemployed the day after discovery. There is quite a motive to ever continue the search without ever obtaining the goal. I do not know if the scenario is true concerning cancer research, but it is most certainly true in the textual criticism. Armies of truth-seeking textual critics draw millions of dollars in paychecks in the noble goal of seeking to identify the correct text of the New Testament. They travel the world to examine manuscripts and take part in archaeological digs following these unending treks, this unending trek. Can you imagine what would happen if one day a group of textual critics proclaimed the Odyssey was over? The authentic text of the New Testament had been identified and published. Would the entire community of textual critics around the world rise with one voice and cry, Hallelujah? It's been found. We all now have to go get real jobs because we are no longer needed. No, the research of those claiming to have identified the New Testament text would be pounced on by the rest of the body of textual critics like a pack of hungry wolves. Their facts would be publicly torn to shreds, and they would be castigated for making such a premature and irresponsible statement. Then the process of eternally searching for the correct text would resume, and so would a flow of paychecks, just not those who are sounding off. If you truly believe the correct text of the New Testament can be identified, you are a fool to trust textual criticism as the vehicle by which to reach your goal. They are professionally motivated to never attain their goal. And that, my friends, is question 106. And there's shorter ones here, but I'm not going to go over those because I got to add another clip to this. Okay, hope y'all enjoyed that. We'll see you later. God bless.